Hey there and welcome back to my channel, Blue Nose Trading. My name is Tori Solis and today I'm going to be going over my initial experience and impressions working with a new clay body. The clay body for this series of work is brown stoneware from Trinity Ceramic Supply in Dallas, Texas. They are my local clay store and we love to support our local clay store. Trinity makes several of their own clays and they are some of my favorites to work with. Always support your local ceramic supply stores when you can, y'all. They keep our craft alive. I could honestly rant for ages about the importance of shopping at local and small businesses, but I won't do too much of that today. I wasn't really sure what to expect from this clay body. When a clay says brown, it could mean so many things. Laguna B3 brown fires almost black, and Trinity Locomocha is a lighter milk chocolate. I've already reviewed both of these clay bodies, so check those videos out if you want to. From what I was told by fellow ceramic artists in my area who've used this clay, it's going to fire to a warm, sandy buff. I probably should have run some test tiles. I normally do make test tiles, but I was working on this series during a weird time. I didn't have a personal kiln to access at that time, and I was kind of firing with a friend, so test tiles were forsaken. This clay body was very easy to throw with. It behaved well and it isn't overly messy. It didn't gunk up my throwing water super fast like some other bodies I've thrown with. Looking at you, B-Mix. This clay is very smooth. It has a small amount of grog, so it isn't soft like a porcelain, but the grog is of a texture and a quantity that you hardly notice it. At least I hardly notice it, especially in comparing it to all the clay bodies I've thrown with so far. This clay pulls well. It's easy to get the walls up. It doesn't have that stubborn density that other bodies have sometimes where they just refuse to rise. I also have and want to shout out this new Hydro Bat, which is essentially a throwing bat made of a very strong plaster. These were invented by Mark, the owner of the ceramic shop and theceramicshop.com. This thing is amazing. I got one that's 16 inches wide, which allows me to throw some really nice sized bonsai pots. The plaster dries the bottom of the pot evenly and smooth, so there's no need to cut the piece off of the bat. You don't warp your rims, it's just wonderful. Flipping it over is still a challenge, but it was always going to be. But it's a lot easier whenever it's dried so evenly. It kind of just pops off the bat whenever it's ready. When the piece is on the bat and it's allowed to slow dry, it dries really evenly, making the entire pot a perfect leather hard for trimming. If you throw anything that is like a plate, I highly recommend that you try out a Hydrobat. I'm going to put a link down below where you can find them if that interests you. They've been an invaluable tool to me in my practice, so I highly recommend them. I'm using some slip in this series to add texture to my pots. I'm applying a slip of speckled buff mixed to a sensible viscosity for this project. I don't know how else to say it. You need the slip to be just so, or it won't run enough. It'll be chunky. Or alternatively, it will run straight down the pot and fall off the sides and not be thick enough to make any kind of good effect and stay where you want it. So it has to be perfectly the right kind of slip. You're going to have to figure it out. I don't know how to explain it to you. I'm using a plastic syringe to apply the slip while turning it slowly on the wheel. For glazing this series, I'm going to use a lot of my usual colors. Since I didn't make any test tiles, I'm just going to go with the colors that I know pretty much behave on most things for the most part so far. This doesn't eliminate risk, because they could still hate this clay body. That's always a possibility. But I'm going to use glazes that have, been great for most things, so they should, maybe. It's risky. The test tiles would always be better, but like I said, it was a weird spot in time. Test tiles didn't happen. And test tiles or not, we're going to use cream baking rust on the inside. The effects of this glaze vary in color, but the finish is always on point. It's glossy and it's stable, which is why it's my favorite glaze to use as a liner. I've had some pitting issues with it, but I think those have been a result of the clay body misbehaving, not necessarily the glaze. On the outside of these pots, I'm going to try a few more reliable glazes. Probably mostly going to use most of my collection of turquoises. I have, I think, 6 different turquoise glazes that I use, and I refuse to part with any of them. Every single one of them takes me to a different body of water, and I'm in love with every single one. So we use a lot of turquoise around here. This Sunday, the series review of this project, where I'm going to go over the results of this project, have some self-reflection, do some little bit of critiquing the work. It's a good time. I separate the series review so that people who just want to see all the pretty stuff don't have to skip past all this process. So if you'd like to hang out and see that video, be sure to subscribe to my channel, Blue Nose Trading. I do post a weekly art video every Friday at 5:30 Central Time. These videos are all posted pretty far out in advance. By the time a series review video comes out, all the stuff on that video may have been in past updates or sales. If you want to see my work as it's coming out, consider supporting my channel at patreon.com/bluenosetrading. Patrons get early access to all of my videos. That means if you see something you like in an early access video, you can send me a message on Patreon to see if it's still available, and if it is, you get dibs. Patrons help support my channel so that I can continue to test new ceramic materials to share with you. Thank you so much for tuning in this week, guys. Remember that you are important and have some really great ideas. Drink lots of water and try to slow down enough this week that you can see the birds and the trees.